I just want to make sure we
sound
can all be
quiet
heard.
on your end, chat. Make sure to also check your volume settings as well.
Yeah, I don't have any playing because, well, you're just going to be hearing my voice for the most part, unless you really want music.
We can throw on some smooth jazz.
But we will be having some video play, but we'll get there when we get there. But we're going to begin because we only have so much time, and I have a whole lot to say. Just like last year, you're just going to hear me ramble a lot. So let's get started. I'm just going to do quick because I don't trust myself. There we go. There's a reason I don't. And it's not because I'm not trustworthy. It's because I just don't trust my brain. I think we've all been there. You just forget stuff. Thankfully, I didn't today. I'm all together. So, hello and welcome to the history of eoj'd's innovation. Today's presentation will give a brief overview of how Elements of Justice, a fan-made sequel to Turnabout Storm, has innovated and changed over the years. For those who don't know, we're an online animated crossover series between MLP and Ace Attorney, a series known for its large production and ever-evolving quality. Hence why we've chosen this topic, as it's become a strong point of online discussion around us. We seek to answer what innovation is and show its impact and process in EOJ, and hope to inspire you to innovate your work, not by doing what we do, but by learning from our experiences.
Please don't do what we do.
You wouldn't survive. We're just barely getting by.
Yeah.
But we're doing it. I'm Pretty Pegasus Wings, head of public relations and lead host of today's panel. I voice Coco Pamel, Diamond Tiara, and Zakora in EOJ. I also do animation and help wherever there's a need, such as with writing or art. I have my own projects outside EOJ, Glass Wings and Conquest, but I've done voices across the community for many projects over the years. Co-hosting alongside me are other members of EOJ, Julius Gemstone and MLP Arts.
Hello.
Hello.
Howdy there. I'm Julius Gemstone. I'm sure you all might remember me from last year as well, where I hosted a panel here, but most importantly, I am a VA for Phoenix Wright. I've been a member of EOJ since 2018, been a Dungeon Master for 12 years and counting. And, of course, I am hosting my own projects, such as Shadows over Equestria and a soon-to-be Murder Drone series known as Project Gambit. But most importantly of all, I have been a loving partner to PPW for over 3 years.
Aww, it's true.
Hey everyone, my name is MLP Arts. You may know me as the voice of Twilight on EOJ, as well as a few others. I started out as the voice of Applebloom and Silver Spoon, and eventually got promoted to team leader of the voice actors, which has been my favorite role by far. Love working with the VAs. I am a part-time college student, currently working on my associates in anthropology, and my motto is I keep it rated PG, with the exception of gore, because murder investigation series. Woo.
I mean, you gotta have a little bit of that in your life. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
God never hurts nobody.
When people call us innovative, they point to our compositing, lip syncing, what you can see. Innovation goes beyond visual improvements and cool technology. I Love Lucy innovated television by having a pregnant woman on screen and showed a married couple sleeping in the same room, to name two of them. Yes, really, this was innovative back in the day. It was considered risque. Crazy to think, right?
Very risque.
Sometimes it can be grand, such as Snow White, the first animated movie in the US that built an industry. Other times, it can do lasting damage, such as the rise of 3D animation in Pixar, which has contributed to the death of traditional 2D animation, and specifically the style. It is very unique to Disney and had to be trained from like the big animators down. It's kind of dying, sadly, due to the interest of 3D over 2D. We innovate for the sake of innovating, asking ourselves, ourselves questions. How can we improve and make a positive impact on the project team or our community? How can we set up and stand out? Do what has to be done. Make the impossible a reality. Innovation is what people will remember you by. It's challenge, it's failure, it's inspired, it's risk. Even the smallest innovations have reaching effects, and sometimes they can create bigger problems. For all the good and the bad, you have to see it through to find what works. What doesn't, and most importantly, learn from it. Failure is the mode of greater ideas, and the people willing to take risks will make the innovations that last. This is how EOJ innovated. Now we're here. As all creative endeavors do, we begin with a dream. One man's dream, who wanted to do what no one else had done before. Many people attempted to make a sequel to Turnabout Storm, a successor, or other inspired work. Few made it beyond concept, and even fewer will see a second episode. No matter how close, no one has gotten all the way, not like Turnabout Storm. What I believe made Elements of Justice different, I believe it's the bullheaded nature of our director, the Al Javis. Or really, our first director, I should say. Not only was he determined to go above and beyond Turnabout Storm, he wanted to do everything himself. Writing, rigging, animating, editing, all except voice acting. Thus, he brought in actors, including old faces such as Golden Crow, the original voice of Phoenix Wright from Turnabout Storm. I mean, it sounds simple, right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Super simple. We just need to do all the writing, the editing,
Write the
make all the
scripts,
new
get the
rigs,
voices,
and make all the
put it
voices.
together. Simple.
No
I mean,
big deal.
what's that gonna take? Like a year?
So easy.
That's the best joke I got today. Okay, thank you and good night. Okay, no.
We'll see you next year.
There were a lot of issues. Al's hard drive died, losing all his work, paying for the animation program Animate required monthly payments, which relied on getting art commissions, which for someone who's just a budding artist, not very easy. Voice actors like the Golden Crow left, who had to be replaced with, of course, Julia's Gemstone.
Hello.
And the process was difficult. We use Animate not only to animate, but to edit, and this program is trash.
It's awful.
To quote one of my animation teachers, Maya hasn't worked since 2011. That can apply to most animation software, but especially Animate. It crashes a lot. It's a miracle something works the first time, and don't get me started on the rendering. Furthermore, it was designed for animation, not editing. We're using a spoon to cut open a can here. Because Al wanted to keep the visuals accurate to the MLP style, he had to use Animate. All other options he tried failed. The toughest problem is Al is an artist with some animation knowledge. He's a great artist. But there's a reason people were scrambling to join, and not only because it's a sequel. The first episode was rough, impressive for one guy learning new skills, and he did what no one else had. Got episode 1 of a sequel out. Even if the audio sucked, the writing was a mess. The rig's horror show. Errors everywhere. And it took 5 years. Still, it wasn't the successor Turnabout Storm. It was, or its fans, or Al wanted. A normal, healthy person would look at this and consider walking. 5 years, 1 episode? Who wouldn't? Yet Al was determined, seeing this as a hiccup on a greater journey of EOJ. Al did the only sensible thing he could. Get a team. He gathered a group of writers initially meant to be script editors until they saw the scripts. Salman, pained by the audio quality, jumped in and took the job of audio engineer. 2 video editors joined to assist on editing, and voice actors such as Coco, who was originally a VA, couldn't voice her anymore. And that's how I got drafted. Over time, we formed teams, made progress, and fixed the writing. You don't want to know what the original Zakor testimony was.
No, you don't.
You really don't. I saw it.
You really don't.
I barely could get to the first page. with a growing production meant meeting new needs, leading to the automation team led by Salman, who truly innovated EOJ. He was responsible for making and leading the AA mechanic animations and the creation of our tools, helped organize production, and made our sound professional. He pushed for progress as much as Mr. G, who initially joined as an audio engineer. Despite our progress, problems persisted. Hal's a talented creative, but lacks certain leadership skills. He realized he needed assistance with management, and with the team growing, better leadership and delegation were required. So, leadership skills. There are two core skills: personability and management. Personability means connecting with your people, rallying a team, considering the team's needs over projects, letting their voice into your work, working with your team, not against, bringing up morale, and being there when you're needed, and supporting your people personally. Management means having the ability to make decisive decisions and good execution, delegating, answering questions, and redirecting as needed, communicating, keeping a production moving and knowing when to step in, responding quickly to situations or crises with maturity and clarity, having solutions ready, and being connected with every stage of production. Then comes the crossroads between them: managing people. Al struggled with that. Anyone who's run a project with a bunch of people knows what it's like. Imagine with me here. You know those team projects you do in school where like you have to do all the work and like there's that one person who barely does anything, one person that doesn't show up, maybe one person that does some of the work. That's what this is like. And occasionally you'll get that one really amazing person you love who actually is the biggest help you'll ever find. And that's EOJ.
Like Shannon.
Oh, absolutely. Shannon's godsend. But that's basically what it's like running one of these projects, and this is where managing people comes in. Al struggled with the crossroads, specifically knowing when to put his foot down, with unruly members and arguments causing production trouble. This lack of decisiveness and unwillingness to do what needed to led to the first of many near collapses. Hal would eventually let management take that burden so he could focus on what he's most comfortable and best with: art. Leaders were picked from each department to help with training, direction, and keeping to deadlines, with overseeing the project, ensuring each department's environment was healthy and happy, and to improve communication. This evolved into 3 managers for each stage of production and leaders for each team. G would soon be appointed assistant director, as Al was still struggling, and eventually simplifying to team leaders, assistant director, and director, further combining teams like graphics and artists because there's only one graphics artist. You don't need to have too much finagling with the managing responsibilities there.
Yeah.
By this point, Al had to step away entirely, leading to the new director, Mr. G. Unlike Al, G is a master of management and PR, knowing how to organize a team and how to sell the series and connect with our fans. New leadership also means new initiatives and changes. Community outreach improved with conventions, interviews, and merchandise, which you can buy via Cadet Red Shirt, our voice actor for Sanaa, and artists in the vendors
Go get
hall.
the merch! Go get
Buy
it!
merch! Well,
Buy merch!
Do it!
You'll regret it the entire rest of your life if you don't get the merch.
G created a talk show live stream to highlight our team members. The fan server improved our connection with the advertisement to fans, especially with PR's establishment. And Bonds of Justice was born, a side series that allows us to tell stories we otherwise couldn't in EOJ proper. G pushed for once-a-month episode releases, knowing with new automation improvements, our skilled teams, and our determination to see this series through, we could do it. He encouraged meetings between leadership, better organized assignments and deadlines, assisting communication, and took fan donations to improve our quality and help our people when needing new equipment. Because stuff breaks and we don't always have the money to pay for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it is
Also, I see
really,
you,
those
Patty.
donations, big help.
Thank you for buying our merch, Patty. I appreciate it.
You're awesome, Patty!
You are now new favorite of the panel.
Oh, that's something. Good Lord. Okay. Some initiatives happened while G was assistant director or accomplished by the team's efforts. BOJ's creation, for instance, is credited to me. I initially made Messages the first episode to celebrate another episode's release before it became an episode for BOJ proper, a series already in discussion before Messages creation. And automation and quality control was forwarded strongly by Soundman. About a year after officially becoming director, Mr. G had to step away, passing the title to Soundman. Another change came new innovations. Quality control was pushed more alongside automation, the reduction of tedious or slop work, allowing our teams to do more with their work. Automation was the key focus, the newest effort being to completely rewrite Animate, improving it to improve our production considerably, because if you improve Animate, you improve like 50% of the entire process. It's pretty crazy. He sought to reduce waste, bureaucracy, and to improve our quality. Soundman hoped automation and new quality control approaches would ensure a better EOJ. He further sought to raise morale, get better energy flowing between members, and establish a backlog, which, alongside automation efforts, would get episodes out more consistently and finish EOJ sooner. Yay!
Yay!
That brings us to today. But how has innovation affected our departments? Our directors influenced a lot, but the efforts of our members truly make EOJ shine. I won't get into too much detail, else we'd be here for hours. You don't want to hear me ramble for hours, do you? But you can learn more through our directors' commentaries on the Elements Adjusted YouTube channel. Go check it out.
Go watch the director's commentary. They're funny.
They're a lot of fun. We definitely had some issues with the first one because it was first time doing it. So be aware. It's length. But back to it. Many people think writing is a simple process. Try writing a mystery series where you're playing 4D chess with yourself. Writing is hard and requires serious work to build interesting and engaging stories, especially for mysteries. We also have to transcribe the functions of a visual novel into a video series, balancing both MLP and Ace Attorney and a whole host of characters. Our fans are exceptionally perceptive, so it's important to get it right, but also because it influences other departments, specifically voice actors. Script writers write for the actors and need to consider their voices. If the dialogue is funky, so will the acting. And if the script isn't inspired, the visuals that respond to the writing and acting go down. People spend hours editing this. Imagine how it feels when it isn't inspiring. When first establishing the writer's room, they weren't organized, which led to a broken and jumbled Bible. A Bible is the backbone pitch of what our series is and how it will go. Story Bibles can become suggestions at some point in the process, but it sets important groundwork in direction and organization, helping us construct future outlines and other planning that make writing a cohesive story possible, especially for a mystery series. To help illustrate what kind of impact this had on the team, we've uncovered an old video that perfectly encapsulates this tumultuous time.
Poor G.
Poor G.
It was not a good time. Please go. Thank you. You don't need to see that again. Yeah, not a great time to be a writer on EOJ, but thanks to the introduction of a new turn-based writing system, regular meetings, and the work of many in rewriting the Bible, our writing department is one of the most stable and cohesive departments. Innovation extends beyond systems, however. The writer's motto from the beginning has been, "We want to do things the Ace Attorney series has never done." The kind of motto that changed Fair Devotion from being the killer in Case 2, Dahlia Hawthorne style, spoilers for Case 2, by the way, for anyone who cares, instead asking, what if Turning Page did it? Why Case 2 will be remembered, why people freaked out with each new twist and turn. It's these innovations that matter. The biggest thing with the video editors was automating their slop work. Everyone hated lip syncing, scene setting, all that manual junk. Time that could be spent doing inspired visuals is put into getting a scene together, which is important, but tedious and grating work. And mind you, this takes hours to individually set the lips, to set the characters, to set the background, and then the animations. It's just maddening. Automation turned hours of work into a click of a button, as you can see on screen. One click, boom, sets itself, and then you just have to review it. Very simple. It helped improve our visuals with more detailed lip syncing and lighting and shading effects via After Effects, because no one's going to take the time to manually do that complex lip syncing. Trust me, you don't want to.
You don't want to? It's horrible.
Improved the polished face, which helps fix errors that occurred during editing, which structured organized phases instead of free-for-all commenting. Scene generation automatically set a scene with rigs and lip syncing, reduced work tenfold, opening communication between writers and editors that helped inspire visual flair, because when both teams are working together, they can help each other to build better ideas, but also more to understand the intent of the writers as well, which is important, as we've mentioned. And automation improved our file sizes and rigging organization to make the job significantly easier and faster. Smaller file sizes equal faster renders and animate lagging less. Scene generation was the most impactful of the automation inclusions, so let's take a look at an example of a generated scene. This simple clip is an example of not only the future hours saved, but why our lip sync is more complex. Take a look.
I managed to test the blood that Apollo, Trucy, and I found on the trees the other day. As was expected, it belonged to royal order. First,
So clean, so
I
smooth.
managed to...
Mm-hmm.
You gotta love Google Slides, right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
As Arts is our head of voice actors, I turn the section over to her.
All right. If you've seen EOJ, you know there's a lot of words. With so much dialogue, it's crucial that we don't just read all those lines, but we breathe life into them. In other words, we gotta act. Michelle Krieber and her mom gave us some helpful tips during Krieber critiques in which they reviewed our performances in EOJ. They said, if you don't want to sound like you're reading, don't read. Try memorizing your lines instead of having the script in front of you. Ensemble, or group recording, is something I wanted to implement as soon as I became team leader because A, acting is reacting, B, that's how My Little Pony did it, and C, it's more fun. So the Creepers encouraged us to hold table reads for new scripts, which we now do on a regular basis. And it can be challenging to coordinate with all the different time zones, so we offer live one-on-one voice direction as well. And let me tell you, directing on the internet can be tough. Case in point, Pantomimia. A character whose name gave our VAs a little bit of trouble during recording, which led to the creation of some beautiful memes. And hey, funnily enough, that's how you pronounce her name. Pantomimia. So that experience taught us that there will be differences in pronunciation, and it helps to have a little guide or audio recording as reference. And these minor mishaps, when they happen, and they will happen, are what make voice acting fun, so no harm done. And that's my goal as a team leader, is to keep things fun. Giving the voice actors a safe space where they could just play around and be creative and do what they love. Because no one is here by force. We're all volunteers. Just here to have fun and make something amazing.
No one's here by
Absolutely.
force. No one's here by
You're here forever.
Exactly. There's no basement.
There is no basement. What are you talking about? But yes, bloopers are a wonderful thing because it's something we can all enjoy together. But another thing to understand about voice acting is in real life, when people record for a series, they're usually in a booth and there's a director over behind the glass directing them. Because of things like time zones and other fun things, it's difficult to really schedule this. So you kind of have to trust your voice actors, have them do multiple takes, all that fun stuff to help mitigate this. And also remember, different regions, different accents. One fun
Yep.
example I like to use is the way we say bison here is with bison, but I've heard other people tell me, no, it's bison. I'm like, no, it's bison. I know what bison sounds like.
Spicing.
Potato,
gonna get-
potato.
I'm going to get someone in the chat, man, here about that. So let's continue.
Beeson. Bosun.
The rigs we started with are an absolute mess and weren't fixed with the first rework. MV came in and revolutionized rigging and animation. He was responsible for the Sonata reveal sequence, inspired transition animations, and was one of our top animators and riggers. There were other issues such as lack of direction that changed with better leadership systems. Automation further assisted with a rig cleaning tool, which helps clean rigs for us and gives us useful information on the rigs. To make clear, before it could take maybe upwards of 30 seconds to load one rig. Nowadays, like half a second. That's just how much automation has affected our production and our ability to work on EOJ. It's absolutely amazing to watch. Same as the editors, automation reduced slop work. Splicers spent hours going through recording and cutting down files. Anyone here who's spliced knows just how painful this is. With a newly developed splicing tool, it significantly reduced work time with an accuracy rate of 90%, which is wild. Adding labels helped the editors, specifically in scene generation. Lastly, Soundman pushed for professional sound audio by developing methods of mastering over time, giving our series the shine it deserves. Something that would take time to, of course, develop. But nowadays, we got a very clean system and some really nice audio. G's PR experience transformed how we advertised and reached to our community, but it was the former PR lead, Trenton, who brought a renaissance of ideas and innovation. Trenton is a puzzle master, introducing riddles and puzzles in EOJ promotion that got fans theorizing and engaging. His work was most prominent in the fan server. The way he interacted with fans and teased them was exceptional. EOJ Fests, tournaments, use of TikTok promoted the work of our fans in memes and artwork. He also oversaw BOJ's production, a series that became a font of experimentation that occasionally influenced EOJ. Trenton was a great leader, kept BOJ strong, and ensured the fans were kept informed. I've yet to get a chance to dig my hands into PR, but I've done a few things such as turning our thumbnail releases into games that encourage fan promotion. You can see in the bottom corner there just what I did to accomplish this, and it really did give us some of the highest repost, retweet likes that we've had for any promotional post. It's crazy how well this worked. And you bet I'm going to challenge you guys again when the episodes restart to do better. I'm not making it easy. I also began a fun storyline of Pinky hacking my account, reaching out to the fans with a poster puzzle. The beginnings of greater schemes. I also have a list of plans in future BOJ episodes set. Some you'll see soon enough. HR watches over the stability and morale of a server and project, acting as support and a second opinion for our leadership. They help in planning calls and events like games and watch parties, assisting leadership during HR crises, giving an ear and voice to members, acting as advisor, and holding surveys to gauge server and project health in a way that is anonymous, allowing for total honesty. It may not seem like much, but introducing HR made a world of difference to EOJ. Because remember, no one has to be here. So why not work to make it a place you want to be? With games, watch parties, and just fun activities where we all can just hang out and maybe become friends. And sure enough, many of us have. Innovation has done much for EOJ, assisting our team by making jobs easier, helping us stand out, expanding what a fan series can be and what it does. That's the intent of innovation, but it doesn't always go that way. So, how did innovation fail and why? One change isolated departments because cross-department commenting was thought to be hampering production and causing unnecessary arguing. And while this helped focus departments, it ruined communication. We became disjointed, developed issues that weakened the quality and capability of departments. Writers lacked needed outside input, voice actors had weaker performances, and video editors included less visual flair. Due to concerns about leaks, assets were given deeper protections, causing issues in asset access, messing up our file sharing platform, and contributed, alongside the communication barriers, to errors and missing work in the art and animation departments. Morale was negatively impacted as isolation discouraged department cooperation and seeing progress. There was some open communication between teams in a public voice chat, but it couldn't fix the fundamental problems caused by this division. Worse was the micromanagement by leadership, too often shooting down personal touches and contributions by our team. Imagine playing Legos with someone who's making you follow the model sheets instead of, I don't know, putting wheels on the wings of your plane machine or building ridiculous structures. Well, you just give up trying to be creative. Now, part of the reason for this was concerns about assets and how much time it would take. But that's the thing to remember about the process of creativity. Sometimes it's worth taking that extra time and effort to make something really special. But again, the focuses at the time were more about getting the episodes out, which was important because, well, that also helps morale. And also because we don't want to work on this series forever. With that comes a sacrifice. The need to push episodes out once a month plummeted morale, reducing the core ideals of collaboration, teamwork, and passion and friendship, making EOJ feel like an unpaid job, as I explained. Greater expectations were put on those we called workhorses to compensate for people not meeting expectations. Sounding like a real company, isn't it? Ugh. This made people feel unappreciated because of the attention and love our workhorses got over them, and the workhorses felt burnt out, growing fearful when someone left EOJ, as work often passed to them. Something that, thankfully, is on its way to being addressed. A little bit of a spoiler for next section. Excuse me, I lost my script. This is what happens when you have to do. You don't have a second monitor. No. HR
Hey
was
guys,
removed.
look over there, Birch. Wow.
Yes, this is how we're going to fix our technical problems. HR was removed and PR kneecapped since they didn't contribute to episode output. They work on internal and external functions, keeping the project going in small yet important ways. Without HR, morale was non-existent and HR-related needs didn't get proper attention. Without PR, casting calls hardly drew attention, so more work for the workhorses, because outside casting calls were deemed unreliable and unnecessary with the people we had. I mean, yeah, we have a team of 60 people, but a lot of those are just voice actors who do an excellent, amazing job. But we also have to remember there's other departments like video editors and audio engineers who could really use some help.
Yeah.
Leadership further believed EOJ was too bloated and filled with people who didn't care. And I put that, you can't see it, but I am doing air quotes there. Thought that prevailed through years as people were called left and right, reasons ranging from wasn't working hard enough or well enough to doesn't interact enough social-wise. Not a barometer for project engagement is why people still do their work if they're available. Sometimes they just get busy, they're lurking. Anxiety, it could be any reason. Not always just because they don't care. Sometimes team leaders weren't informed or involved in the decisions around these removals. The intention was to clean up the server and project to improve it, but what it did was increase the fear of our best people, drain them faster, morale plummeted, and further divided and pushed the rest of the team away. Friends don't exactly like seeing their friends get removed for vague, bad reasons. So these issues are hurdles, but when they're brought together, yeah, turns out we did need all those people.
Oops.
Could have guessed.
I could guess. It's a big project. And animation usually requires like hundreds of people regularly in actual, series that you see on TV. Man, who could have guessed? EOJ is not a paid project. Each and every member is a volunteer paid in friendship, appreciation, and passion. When you take these three keystones away and replace it with work, fear, and no thanks, along with the other inevitable internal problems, it will come to a point. But if it's so obvious what would happen, what was the intention behind these decisions? Efficiency and quality. From a non-personable business standpoint, these decisions make sense. Focus on the best, most efficient parts of a system for the best turnout. And theoretically, sometimes some ideas that seem kind of not so great on paper actually can do a lot of good for a project as long as they're executed well. And unfortunately, in this case, over time, kind of just lost its luster. EOJ, though, isn't a factory or a machine. EOJ creative, wonderful people graciously lending their time to another's idea. That's what leadership unintentionally neglected with these decisions. They failed to understand what innovation works best when we trust in our people, include them, and allow the best to shine in everyone, instead of relegating them by personal preference. These innovation attempts regressed us to the problems we started with. Intentions to help and improve EOJ for everyone became problems too much for many. Volunteer projects don't make choosers, and creativity means learning to work with what you got. Have the willingness to be wrong and bounce back from failure better than ever. That's what we did. We handle setbacks by asking, how do we move forward? The moment we stop, when we hang on to the past or lose sight of who we are, we crumble. EOJ is a place built by and for the people, off passion and a dream. When things go wrong, it's our people that bring us back and help lead the way to a better tomorrow. We step back and ask that question, giving needed perspective and encouraging others to speak up, to get involved and make the change happen. We held a server meeting, spoke directly on even ground, and devised the plan that's currently in effect. The new era won't overwork people, overly push beyond our ability, or give one person too many jobs. EOJ will mix ideas from all eras, refreshing them with new thoughts. More importantly, we want to continue innovating for the new age. PR is considering new ways of storytelling and audience inclusion, more games, teasers, new puzzles, more community outreach, and more BOJ, which has changes coming. We want to encourage new side content and ideas, play with our assets, and have fun, all to produce light content between episodes. Yes, changes that will give more and take less effort.
More content. More
More
content.
More content indeed. We also want to try casual streams with the team. This will help prevent long periods of silence and improve engagement. Our team server will focus on community, team inclusiveness, and communication, fixing these issues one at a time, starting with episode output. While things may go slower, we're looking to take advantage of it to do that much more in and out of the team server. EOJ will need some help, so an onboarding initiative is underway. A new system is being devised to ensure openness and opportunity for all people interested in assisting EOJ. A mixture between a stress test to ensure people are a proper fit for the team and training, so they'll be ready to work on EOJ. Those who don't make the cut can walk away with new skills, making auditioning a worthwhile try. With our new initiatives in place, our heart revived and amends made, we've strengthened our passion, reforged our love, but most importantly, we brought back old friends. Friends who never should have felt the need to turn or be turned away in the first place. It will take time to fix everything, to ensure a more stable and bright future for everyone, fans included. But it's work well worth undertaking. For our members, for our fans. Because it's you who make EOJ what it is. Innovations that will change everything for the better. And I think you will feel the difference. A project is never stagnant. Sometimes It breaks for months, years, and rises from the ashes suddenly. Other times, it takes hard stumbles before something gets out. The process of being creative is messy and can lead to all sorts of problems. That's the beast we tango with, and one we must be aware of before we step into this dance. These are but a few glimpses at the future. We have so much more to share, but we can't do it all here. Thus, EOJ is happy to announce our next upload will be, drumroll please, update number 19.5, a video with a lot to say and a new era to introduce. Perhaps our biggest yet! Episode releases will restart after for those hungering for further answers. Believe me, it's not going to be that much longer. So, you're feeling inspired, wanting to innovate your own work and projects? How do you innovate for your project? How do you innovate your work and projects? And what lessons can we take from EOJ's trials and errors? Start any project small, working from there, and remember to kiss. Keep it
Mwah.
simple, stupid. Or that. Remember to love yourself, guys. You guys are awesome, and you will make awesome things. While we're lucky to have coders to improve, animate, and make tools, your project probably won't be. So focus on what you can do. The best ideas are often simple, and make us feel dumb when we think of them. Bells and whistles are not required to make something amazing or innovative. You'll get farther starting small than big, because if you fall hard. Knowing when to do more, where to put extra effort, matters. Innovation is diverse. Anyone aware of Henry Hirschfield and his surrealist animations? Rejected? Absolutely masterful, innovative work, award-winning, made with stick figures. Really, stick figures got nominated for an Oscar for short film.
Stick
that
figures
good.
are sick, dude.
They are.
When
The
improving your
early
work,
2000s had something going for them. Just saying.
I recommend people look it up because, I mean, his work's pretty something, in my opinion, at least. When improving your work, consider the whole. How you use music. Consider how you use music, sound, visuals, composition. What makes people pay attention? Try something new. Be weird. Get stupid. Take risks. Don't get locked up with canon this or consistency that. Is it an inspired idea? Try it. Take risks. Dare to be imperfect by playing like you're a child again. Execution is the key to successful innovation as much as good ideas. Your art can be the best in raw skill, but means nothing if there's no substance. If making a project, consider internal factors, like EOJ did. How best to reach an audience? You're nothing without your team, so keep them happy. Be inspired. Have references, but be careful not to tread old ground. If you want to grow and evolve, get away from your comfort zones. Try something new, even if it's ugly. Push past those boundaries. Flip an idea on its head. Ignore that little voice in the back of your head that says, it's not going to be good enough. It's going to be terrible. Stop what you're doing. A piece of writing advice I've heard is don't use idioms like, that's how the cradle crumbles. They're the periods of writing. We mentally skip over them because we instinctively know what it means. If you want people to pay attention, don't be basic. Say something new or in a new way. Crumble the foundation of those cradles. But don't be afraid to be predictable either. It can be a good sign people are paying attention. Ask questions. What's holding back our production? How do we reduce slop work? What hasn't been done before? That's how innovation begins. To borrow another piece of advice, don't take the first idea. Usually your first idea is the easiest, most basic one. Make a list. See what your third idea is. Your fourth. Challenge yourself beyond the first or second, but sometimes your first idea is the best one. So use your better judgment. Like all rules, they can be bent and they can be ignored, as long as you know what you're doing. Furthermore, don't be afraid to throw out beloved ideas, aka your babies. You may love that character, that idea, but if everything is saying your work would be better off without it, it's time to let go. Finally, and most importantly, you're not a monolith. Even if going solo, get ideas from others. Be inclusive and put yourself out there. There is nothing in this world more motivating than hearing from other people, getting their ideas, and seeing them be excited as much as you are. Share your work in progress. Get communities and friends involved. Nothing is more inspiring than people engaging with your work as it grows. Seriously, some of the best things you can do. Getting outside ideas and criticism is vital to healthy growth and crumbling your worst parts. Trust your team if you have them. Let them influence your work at every stage. Let your work change and evolve. Don't be afraid to speak up either. You know your vision better than anyone. Sometimes trusting people won't always work out. You may get knocked down. As long as you get back up, keep trying. You'll be fine. I think we got some time for some questions. What are we looking at?
Questions, any questions?
Does any pony have any questions?
Yeah,
One
you
at a
got 12
time.
minutes, so have fun.
Yeah. Well, I was
So
hoping
make
to leave
those
you 15,
questions
but hey,
count,
we did pretty good.
Come on now. Don't be shy. Now's your chance.
Oh, did I answer everyone's questions by having this amazingly plotted out script, or we got anything? Anyone want to come challenge me? Come on, this is how innovation works, people. Asking questions. It's time to start practicing.
Welcoming all challengers.
Okay, here's one for you. What is it like to have to deal with what you have previously written in a series while trying to make it new and fresh?
Ah,
Ooh.
yeah, that's the fun thing. When you, for those who don't know, when you're working on something like this and you don't pre-write all your scripts, a lot of people have this thing called regret, because they look back and they're like, "Oh God, we should have done this. We could have made it so much better." Oh. So, what EOJ did when rewriting the Bible, because this is how it all happened. We were looking at all these old ideas, and you saw some of them were pretty silly, and yet somehow we found a way to make them all work by just coming together and just throwing things at a wall. We said, "Okay, this is dumb, but how do we make it cool?" And that's something you'll eventually see. We can't talk about much exactly because it hasn't really come to fruition yet, obviously. But I will say the best way is, of course, as the statement goes, keep moving forward. Yeah, you're going to look back, and it's not going to always look great when you look back. But in some ways, it's kind of like a badge of honor. Look at how much you've grown. Look at how much better you're doing. Kind of nice to see where you come from, too. Learning to appreciate your old work is an important mindset to have, I feel, because don't be ashamed. We all start somewhere. But how we move forward is just that. We work with what we got. We can't change the past. So we just keep working and trying and throwing things out there. That's just the process.
We also got some questions coming up in
Excellent.
in the chat,
here.
and also someone is requesting to speak.
Who is it?
So how do we want to do this? Kutharis?
We can
If
invite
I
them.
pronounce that correctly?
Let me come in here. I can invite them.
And remember, once invited on the stage, you must click accept. And I have the ability to shut anything down if you get too rowdy.
Thank you very much. The animation software. Oh, we're working on it. I'll answer a few of these really quickly. It's coming along. We're learning to deal with it. We're figuring out things. We've had some hiccups, but we're working together as a team, and I think it's coming along well. Best bloopers. God.
There's so many.
There's
I
too
love
many
it
to count.
anytime Julius does Celestia, it cracks me up.
Oh
thank you.
yeah, Russian Celeste. Is it Russian?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm not good with accents.
We now have someone who requested to speak. So, got a question for our lovely guest?
Welcome.
Yeah, just a quick question. I came in halfway, but given the length of some of your videos, it was there any conflict about just about content creep? Because that definitely is a lot of hours of watching, and I'm wondering if you had even more hours or content you had to stop for.
Oh, we had arguments over the length, like, because okay, so here's how the original leadership was. It was very bloated. We tried implementing systems with the leadership. But there's this one guy. I kid you not. The reason why too that actually might feel a little bloated is because they put a hard stopper on the writing, and then the very last minute he inserts 43 pages. 43 pages. And that's what led to the need to reform, because we're like, we can't have that happen again. Like, we want to make sure everyone's voice is included here, and then your voice is important, but by God, we can't have a last minute 43 page jump like that.
It was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. So that's what came with the Bible rewrite, especially with case 3. You've noticed the episodes have gone a little bit shorter, but the length of the case is getting bigger. That was just kind of to help mitigate for some of the issues that were in the Bible. Like we said, we work with what we got, we keep pushing forward, and we do our best to make good with the ideas that we have, not wishing what we could have done, because you're not going to get anywhere if you're just going to be like, oh, I wish we had done something different. So what we did was, of course, set up better organization methods and systems to help reduce that time and make these episodes more watchable. And another thing we did for the DCs was live stream them. And with better organization on planning out where we want to talk, planning out where we're going to stop, when we're not going to stop, really helped in reducing a time from what was 7 hours of all over the place rambling into quick live streams that just post themselves and you just forget about it.
Indeed. I see a very interesting question from Saul Goodman, who's asking a legal question. Very in character, very in character. How do you avoid legal trouble from Capcom and Hasbro regarding copyright and trademark? I actually have an answer for that. It's called loopholes, people, loopholes. Namely because A, the actual series itself is not monetized in any way, shape, or form. Everything is done within the legal bounds of fair use and, well, within the bounds of not intruding on their copyright. However, how we have merch, on the other hand, that you can buy and it goes right to the team is because we use our own characters. That's right, and our own concepts that are not trademarked by Capcom and or Hasbro. Yes, they may share some similar styles, but they are all within fair use, and fair use is very important.
Mm-hmm. And I have a funny little anecdote related to that too. Around the time that we were working with Michelle Krieber and her mom, I had actually asked Michelle if she would be interested in voicing Apple Bloom, like in the Case 2 finale. And she was down to do it, but she had to email her agent, and her agent said that there would be copyright problems.
Yeah.
So
her voice of Apple Bloom is owned by Hasbro.
yeah.
I love copyright.
Gotta
Yeah.
love copyright.
We live in what's called a legal gray zone, because all the donations we use are purely to like assist with people. We're not actually profiting off this. No one really truly owns the money. We just hold on to it somewhere. We have designated people and all that. They hold on to it. And if people make money off the series is through OCs, like Julia said, so there really isn't much infringement. As long as it doesn't look too much like My Little Pony, as long as it doesn't look like we're profiting, we're not profiting, I assure you. As long as we don't do that and we don't grab too much attention, we'll be fine. But that's a conversation we've had in depth many, many, many times over.
Yes. All right, next question here. Let's see.
About 4 minutes. Lightning round.
Lightning round. From another one from Saul Goodman. Very good questions here, Mr. Saul. What are or were some things you wish you did better when you started with the first episode? Everything.
Ooh.
Everything. Just look at that episode and put the word everything over it, and that's what we wanted to do better. Let's see. And we did. Our favorite ice cream flavors. Ladies.
Cheesecake recently. Otherwise mint and chip.
Same.
Sadly, I'm basic. I'm pretty sensitive to flavors. Like, they're more intense for me. So vanilla is safe. I like vanilla, but of course I love cookies and cream and some cookie dough. And just pull the chips out. And I just like simple vanilla and Oreos, because I mean, you can't do better than that. It doesn't get better.
Cookies and cream is also my
it is
second
very
favorite.
Good, yes.
But my guilty pleasure is mint chocolate chip, especially with the mint is nice and
Good.
soft.
Yes.
All right. Other questions here.
I see one
What are
about
the
bloopers.
bloopers? Yes.
Oh.
We answered that question in the chat. Bloopers are they come out at the end of every case, more or less. Our team gets together, compiles all those delicious blumpers, and we
Yes,
put them in one
indeedly.
big video. The most recent one, where you can hear me do this voice, is the most recent one.
And then the
I love
audio
it.
editors get to flex on everyone and just go
Yes,
wild
indeed.
with what you can
They get
do.
they
Just
get to do all sorts of funny jokes. Production questions. Where do you get the audio visual effects, especially sound effects? Everywhere, friend, everywhere. One of our most famous sound effects is the metal clank sound comes from TF2. So more or less, if you can get your grubby little hands on it, it can be more or less done. There are entire libraries online where you can find all sorts of free to use audio effects, visual effects.
Yeah,
For visual effects, it comes down to, of course, the animators and our graphics artists, those beautiful, wonderful people.
we would be nothing without our graphics artists or our animators.
We would be
And
nothing.
editors.
Favorite class in TF2, engineer and heavy.
I don't play TF2.
Me neither.
But to answer some visual stuff, animators make the characters come to life. Editors make the visuals look fun and fancy free. And then the graphics artists make everything else even fancier than that to give those really cool effects that you see occasionally, like the Luna Dream sequence, all graphics. It's really cool stuff that they do. But yeah, I see we got a minute left, so I'm going to do a little thing we call PR plugin. So
PR plugin, shameless self-promotion!
Okay, let me just drop this in here first, and then I can get to the part where I talk more. So here are the links. I'm going to start reading, and you're going to start listening. This is how I fill space. Let's bring this back up. So, I'd like to thank Ponies Online for hosting us again this year and for having me as community guest. This is my first time as one, so it's pretty special. This is further thanks to MLP Arts and Julius Gemstone for joining me today and providing their insightful commentary. You can find MLP Arts at BabsCon this year, so if you're going, keep an eye out for her and just to say hi.
Come say hi, guys.
We have our links here in case you want the QR codes. Julius' project can be found on his YouTube if you're interested in Shadows over Equestria or the future release of Gambit. I happen to be part of Shadows over Equestria. You'll see my fluffy lion horse in there. She likes to snuggle up with people and also fight. She could fight. Check out Cadet Redshirt Store in the Vendors Hall for EOJ merch if you haven't already. Follow Patty's instruction. Follow EOJ socials. Join the fan server. Subscribe to our YouTube. Watch the series if you haven't. All links can be found at our link tree. If you want to find out more of my work, Empire Productions is where it's hosted. Link below in the link tree. Clown Quest and Glasswings are currently on hiatus, but we'll come back and we'll be better than ever. And it'll be as soon as EOJ is settled. If you have any more questions about this presentation, join the fan server and at me. Or here, you can try. I'll do my best to keep up with you guys. But you can always continue to talk to me and the other people over in the fan server. You want to keep up with the series. It's a pretty cool place with pretty cool people. And I'll do my best to reply, as I said. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for having us. It's been a wonderful time. Good night, Ponies Online. Woo!
Good night, Ponies Online. Woo!
Round of applause for Pretty Pegasus Swings and the rest of the EOJ crew. Up next we have Igor with Milo Ties playing with lasers.
Lasers.
Lasers. So pretty.
Yeah, she is. She's right there.
Aha.